Gravity is the force that pulls you or any object back down to the center of the earth. As Iris is sliding off my shoulders, she is automatically pulled down to the floor. This is because of gravity.
Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. Potential energy is the stored energy. When the ball is at the peak of the hill, it possesses potential energy. As the ball rolls down the hill, it is converted into kinetic energy.
Acceleration is the change of velocity per certain unit of time. As you can see in this clip, as a sled starts to go down the hill, the speed increases. This is called acceleration. Newton's first law: an object in motion will stay at a constant speed or motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. This clip shows both Iris and I in motion until we hit each other, causing an unbalanced force.
Newton's second law of motion. The amount of force used to accelerate an object, force equals mass times acceleration, or F equals ma.
Newton's third law: for every force there is an equal and opposite force. Just as Newton's laws says every force has an equal and opposite force, this shows how Allie hits the tree and the tree hits back just as hard.
Speed, distance traveled over time.
This is a good example of speed because length is distance over time. So we measured the length of the aisle, which came out to be 60 feet, and we traveled at a constant speed as well as we could. We traveled the distance in 11.6 seconds. Then we divided 60 by 11.6 and got a speed of 5.2 feet per second.
Motion is a person or object moving or being moved.
This is Iris doing somersaults down an aisle. She is in motion while moving down the aisle.
Velocity is speed in a certain direction.
Unlike speed, velocity has a directional component in addition to being how far you travel per unit of time. I have a negative velocity as from my starting point because I'm moving backwards.
Friction, a resistance of one body moving against another. This is an example of friction because Allie rubbing against the floor causes her to slow down and eventually stop with no motion. Balance force is when there is an equal amount of force on both sides. This example shows two equal forces, which are the cards, and they are applied on an object pushing with the same amount of force in the same direction.
Unbalanced forces, when there is a greater amount of mass or force on one side and less on the other. Difference in mass changes the object's motion because the strength of the card does not match the strength of the remote. Force is a push or a pull on an object.
This is an example of force because, as you can see, Allie is exerting force onto the snow and pushing it off the mailbox and onto the ground.
Express yourself. Express yourself.